The distress beacon had been screaming into the void for 3 cycles now, and First Scholar Vin was starting to think death might be preferable to listening to Communications Officer Rilk panic for one more rotation. "We are going to die out here," Rilk announced for the 14th time that morning, his 3 eye stalks drooping with theatrical despair. "Alone. Forgotten. Our shells will drift through space until the heat death of the universe." "Thank you, Rilk, for that incredibly helpful observation," Vin replied, not bothering to look up from the navigation console. The sarcasm was lost on him, naturally. Rilk had the emotional intelligence of a particularly dense rock. Their survey vessel, the Tranquil Meadow, was anything but tranquil at the moment. The hull had been breached by micrometeorite debris in Sector 7. Life support was running on backup power, and the medical bay smelled like something had died in the ventilation system. Which, knowing Medical Officer Thras and his collection of biological samples, was entirely possible. "The beacon is being received," Thras announced, shuffling into the command chamber on his 6 legs. He looked remarkably calm for someone whose species only had a fight or flight response, and had genetically engineered out the fight part 3,000 years ago. Someone answered. Ven's mandibles clicked together in surprise. Answered? Who? According to the translation matrix, they call themselves humans. From a planet designated Earth. Class 12 Death World. The command chamber went silent. Even Rilk stopped panicking, which was genuinely alarming. A death world, Ven repeated slowly. You mean one of those nightmare spheres where everything is actively trying to kill everything else? The very same, Thras confirmed, pulling up the planetary data on the main screen. The statistics were horrifying. Gravity that would crush a Quellan into paste. An atmosphere so corrosive it contained free oxygen. Surface temperatures that swung wildly enough to boil water and freeze it solid depending on location. Massive saltwater oceans filled with creatures that ate each other for entertainment. And the dominant species, these humans, were apex predators. Apex predators. Oh, splendid, Ven muttered. We called for help and summoned monsters. They said they are dispatching a rescue vessel immediately, Thras added helpfully. Estimated arrival time is 6 cycles. 6 cycles. Rilk's voice went up 3 octaves. Our life support will fail in 8. We will have 2 cycles of buffer. 2. Do you know what kind of stress that puts on my cardiovascular system? Pretty sure you only have one cardiovascular system, Rilk. The waiting was the worst part. Ven tried to keep the crew busy with repairs, inventory checks, anything to stop them from collectively losing their minds. But as the cycles ticked by, even she found herself staring at the approach scanners, wondering what kind of vessel a species of Death World predators would build. On the 5th cycle, they got their answer. Contact, Rilk whispered, his voice actually shaking. Oh, ancestors preserve us. Contact. The ship that appeared on their sensors was wrong. That was the only word for it. Wrong. Where Quellan vessels were smooth, organic curves designed for maximum efficiency and minimal aggression, this thing looked like someone had welded together a weapons platform, a cargo hauler, and maybe a small moon, then decided the result was not terrifying enough and added more guns. So many guns. They are hailing us, Thras reported. Put them through, Ven ordered, straightening her posture and trying to look like a leader instead of someone whose digestive system was currently attempting to escape through her thorax. The screen flickered, and a face appeared. A human face. Ven had seen predators before. She had studied xenobiology, reviewed countless species classifications, even visited a zoo once. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared her for the casual confidence radiating from the creature on her screen. The human was female, Ven thought, based on the secondary morphological characteristics. Dark skin, darker eyes that were positioned forward for binocular predator vision, and a smile that showed far too many teeth. This is Captain Morris of the Earth vessel Defiant Response, the human said, her voice smooth and completely unconcerned with the fact that she was piloting a warship through hostile space. Heard you folks needed a lift. Having a bad day? The laugh that came with that last question was not cruel, but it was definitely amused. Like she found their mortal peril entertaining. Captain Morris, Ven managed, keeping her voice steady through sheer force of will. Yes, we require assistance. Our vessel is damaged and life support is failing. No worries, we will have you sorted in no time, Morris replied. Sit tight. We are coming alongside now. Fair warning though, my crew can be a bit intense. Try not to freak out when you see them. We don't bite." She paused, and that terrifying smile got wider. Well, not usually. The connection cut, and Vin looked at her crew. Rilke had fainted. Thras was making a sound she had never heard before, something between a wheeze and a prayer. "Well," Vin said into the silence. "This should be interesting." The docking procedure was, in Vin's professional opinion, absolutely insane. Where any sane species would use gentle magnetic clamps and pressurized umbilicals, the humans simply fired what appeared to be harpoons into the tranquil Meadow's hull, reeled themselves in like they were catching a particularly large fish, and then cut a hole directly through the airlock door. "They are cutting through our hull," Rilke shrieked, having regained consciousness just in time to witness this fresh horror. "Actually, they are cutting through the already broken airlock," Thras corrected. "Technically more efficient than trying to repair it first." The cutting torch went silent. There was a moment of almost peaceful quiet, and then the airlock door simply fell inward with a crash that made Vin's bones vibrate. Steam hissed. Lights flickered, and then the humans came through. Captain Morris was shorter than Vin expected, maybe 2/3 her height, but she moved with the coiled energy of something that could explode into violence at any moment. Her uniform was dark blue with various patches and insignias, practical boots, and approximately 7 different tools hanging from her belt. Behind her came 3 more humans, each one looking progressively more dangerous than the last. "Well, this is cozy," Morris said, glancing around the command chamber with those forward-facing predator eyes. "How many crew you got on board?" 15, Vin managed. 12 are still functional. 3 are in medical bay with injuries from the initial impact. "Right. Jenkins, take a team to medical. Patel, get eyes on that reactor before it decides to have a really bad day. Williams, you are with me on life support." The humans moved with startling efficiency, splitting up without hesitation. The one called Jenkins, a massive male with arms like industrial equipment, actually jogged toward the medical bay. Jogged. On a damaged ship with failing gravity generators. "You look stressed," Morris observed, turning back to Vin. "First time meeting humans? First time meeting anyone from a Class 12 death world?" "Yes." "Oh." Morris grinned again, and Vin noticed her canine teeth were particularly prominent. "Yeah, we get that a lot. Look, I know we probably seem scary, but we are actually pretty nice once you get past the whole apex predator thing. We brought supplies, tools, and Williams makes excellent coffee, though you probably cannot drink it. Might dissolve your insides." She said this cheerfully, like discussing beverage-induced organ failure was normal small talk. "Captain Morris," Vin began carefully, "why did your people answer our distress call? Surely you have more important matters than rescuing a survey vessel." Morris's expression shifted, became something more serious. "Because you asked for help. That is what decent people do, right? Someone needs help, you help them. Pretty simple." It was not simple at all. The galaxy was full of species that would ignore distress calls, or worse, answer them with hostile intent. The idea that these predators, these Deathworlders, would cross dangerous space just to assist strangers was fundamentally confusing. "Hull breach is patched," someone shouted from Sector 7. "Atmosphere holding steady. Life support is back to 80% capacity," another voice called out. "You folks really did a number on these circuits, huh?" 20 minutes. They had been on board for 20 minutes and had already accomplished more than Vin's crew managed in 3 cycles. Morris noticed her staring. "We are pretty good in a crisis. Comes from living on a planet that is actively trying to kill us most of the time. Builds character. Your planet tries to kill you? Oh yeah. Hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, floods, droughts, and don't even get me started on the wildlife. Australia alone has like 30 different things that can kill you before breakfast. Then why do you stay there?" Morris laughed, a genuine sound of amusement. "Because it is home. And honestly, once you grow up dodging drop bears and box jellies, the rest of the galaxy seems pretty tame." Vin had no idea what drop bears or box jellies were, and she was reasonably certain she did not want to know. Jenkins returned from medical, ducking through the doorway that was definitely not designed for someone his size. "Doc, Yao has the injured stabilized. Mostly soft tissue damage and some mineral deficiency. Nothing critical. She is setting up for drips now." "The humans brought a doctor?" Thras asked, eye stalks perking up with interest. We bring a doctor everywhere, Morris replied. Rule number 1 of exploring space: always bring medical. Rule number 2: always bring more medical than you think you need. Rule number 3: seriously, so much medical. The repairs continued. Vin watched in fascination as the humans worked, their movements precise and confident. They communicated in short bursts, finishing each other's sentences, anticipating needs before they were spoken. It was like watching a single organism with multiple bodies. Captain, Patel called from engineering. Reactor is stable, but you are going to need a full overhaul at a proper station. I can keep it running for maybe 2 weeks, but after that you are looking at a potential cascade failure. Nearest station? Morris asked. Outpost Viridian, Vin supplied. 11 cycles at our current engine capacity. Or 3 days at ours, Morris said. We will tow you. Defiant Response has more than enough power to pull your ship and still have juice left over for a dance party. A dance party? Human thing. We celebrate not dying. Happens a lot, so we get plenty of practice. 6 hours later, the Tranquil Meadow was secured to the Defiant Response with industrial towing cables that looked like they could pull a small moon. Vin's crew had been given guest quarters on the human vessel, which were simultaneously luxurious and terrifying. Everything was built for creatures with higher gravity tolerance, which meant the beds felt like sleeping on stone and the chairs were designed for spines that curved differently. But they were alive. Safe. Heading toward a repair station with a crew of Deathworlders who had answered their call without hesitation. Vin found Morris on the observation deck, staring out at the stars with a cup of that toxic coffee she had mentioned. Thank you, Vin said quietly. For coming. For helping. For not being the monsters we expected. Morris glanced at her, smiled that toothy smile. We are monsters sometimes. When we need to be. But mostly, we are just people trying to do right by each other. Deathworld or not. That part is universal. She took a sip of her coffee, grimaced slightly. Okay, Williams makes terrible coffee, but don't tell him I said that. Vin clicked her mandibles in what she hoped conveyed amusement. Outside the viewport, the stars stretched on forever, and somewhere out there, Earth continued spinning with all its beautiful, deadly chaos. And Vin thought maybe, just maybe, the galaxy was a little less dark with humans in it. So what did you think? Did this story surprise you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this sci-fi story, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing science fiction stories every week. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.